Maybe his bad matchup is just versus Koreans. That seems to be a universally
We
liked
thus
weak matchup.
we thus create a new matchup.
Yep.
Any race, VK.
Yep, VK. That's it's very hard, but looks like on the top left-hand side of this map, it will be for the second game from Easy Visualize. Fmtc, the player that we've been talking about a lot, spotting there as the Zerg. And his
Yeah.
opponent Bell.
His opponent is going to be the blue Terran player in the lower right location, playing a KVZ matchup right now. It's Revenge.
Yep, and his when he's playing with Koreans, he's doing well. Let's just call it like that. Revenge has shown an excellent series already in the DSCL in the qualifiers. He was very strong, and he's looking good again. First games that he played of the day were great against Brave, even when he was put on the back foot in game number 1, the very first game we casted. He had a very hard time, but he recovered so well. And in the games we've seen after that, he's played very good decision making, near flawless, and hasn't lost any engagements. Good unit positioning. This is a guy to look out for in the DCL, I feel like.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. I mean, DSCL this year is going to be insanely good because there's just such an amount of highly qualified competition to be had. The matches at the live finals, no matter who gets through, the brackets are so thick right now, they're just oozing skill that not going to the live finals, not being there, especially if you are located or if you live in the Netherlands, you will be regretting that decision for the rest of your gaming lives. So, if you want to secure a spot, or at least find out how to get there, go on to dscl.nl and read all about it.
Yep, a good Mother's Day gift is making sure that you are at the offline finals during the StarCraft 2 players and casts over there, because then
Yep.
your mother is going to have a very quiet day at home, and you're going to be super happy. So everybody's happy in that position. Looks like so far Fmtc once again going for the safe opening, already making 6 Zerglings, doesn't want any of that shenanigans with the Reapers like last game, but Revenge going for a little bit of a Wings of Liberty-esque build with the command center and the barracks without making a Reaper. Alright?
Yeah, he did go for a command center first, so he's taking advantage of the size of the map, and his opponent, you know, he kind of expected this. This is why we don't see any gases being thrown down just yet, despite the fact that the ledge here, through which the Reaper can jump into the main base, is quite wide, and the creep is not going to be over there, so the queens cannot patrol around that area. So, you know, gasless 4-queen opening here that feeds very well into a couple of roaches for defending against the Hellions. So pretty much both players doing the build that suits the map and none of them diverting from the course. So you could say that the game is very even, as the builds themselves, the openings the players chose, are pretty much none of those has an advantage over the other.
Yep, I agree. I like from Fmtc actually that he's taking 2 gases, and he's taking both of them in his expansion first, so that when he does get scouted, could indicate some heavy commitment to mute us off of 2 bases or something in that position. But we're gonna have to see if he decides to take a 3rd base though, because he should start moving the drone right now. He is moving a drone, so that's gonna be a 3rd base. Yep. And it's going to be a very macro-intended game from him. And from the other side of things, it looks like no Reapers, but there will be Hellions and a Banshee coming from Revenge, so he's going to put on a little bit of pressure on it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Hellions will not be as much of a threat as long as the Queen control from Fmtc is on the spot, but the Banshee is going to be the bigger threat here. The lair has already been started pre-7 minutes timing here. We're looking at 6:30. So, you know, by the time the Banshee gets over there and by the time the cloak finishes, the Zerg player should have detection capabilities and mobile detection capabilities. The creep should be all the way over at the 3rd base by that time, so I think FMTC is looking pretty solid. He just needs to send an Overlord in to see what kind of an opening this is. He is doing so right now. So, this game, FMTC is in his rhythm. He wasn't disrupted as heavily at the start of the game, and he's playing way solidly than he was in game number 1.
Yeah, that's what we need to see from this Dutch Shark, because in game number 1 it just sometimes that happens to you. You take a little bit too much damage. There's 3 Reapers instead of 2. You start losing some units, and you start panicking, and you start making decisions that don't really benefit you at all, like trying to go for a Baneling Boss or something like that. But this game, he's been left alone, and he's playing the game that he likes to play, and a very good macro game. And he's already making 2 Overseers, so he's gonna have a good indication of what's going on. You can see the first one flying in, knows exactly what's going on at Terran base. And it looks like he's going for some sort of build with roaches, because he's got roach speed and 1/1 underway, as well as the first 6 roaches.
This is actually pretty good, because roaches defeat Hellions in one-on-one fights. With the speed, they're going to have the mobility they need to cross the map, and the stim is not finished yet. But on the flip side, FMTC, if he wants to do damage with this, instead of just using the roaches defensively, he'd have to poke right now. I don't think he will do that though, because there's just too many Hellions here. He still needs to secure the 3rd base a little bit more firmly, in my opinion. He is sending those roaches across the map, so I don't know about this.
He actually needs a few to defend his base, because there's actually going to be Hellions just running into the natural, and this could do some damage here. They're going to into the main base. One of them did get picked off. The Queen is doing a good job blocking some of them with her fat ass, but not all of them, and this is doing a lot of damage to FMTC. And these Hellions, I'm pretty sure they're going to be happy with the amount of havoc they've wrecked in the base of FMTC.
Well, altogether, 17 drones have been killed so far. There is a Banshee working away at the natural base on the drones there, because there are no queens to defend. All the queens were at the 3rd base. Would you imagine that? Lazy bastards. So again, FMTC just taking, in my opinion, unnecessary damage. He wanted to poke with the roaches. He moved out across the map, but he just did not have his defenses quite set up back home, so he was lacking defenses, and right now the stim is done. Terran production is kicking in. All the barracks and all the add-ons have finished in the meantime. 1-1 is going to complete as well, and there are 2 bunkers. SCV's 3 bunkers. SCV's ready to repair. A tank sieged up behind that. Despite FMTC having high ground vision, he will not be able to break this, and he finds himself hugely behind as a result of all of this once again.
Yep, and there's just too many Korean units to deal with at the natural base of Revenge. You can see that's the Achilles heel of FMTC right now. And these roaches are not going to be that useful with the tank count building up. He's adding more tanks. So once he gets to the 4 or 5 tanks, it's going to be very hard. This is the moment for FMTC to make something happen, if anything. And right now he is trying to engage and does pick up the tank. But these Marines are actually holding their own against the roaches right now. Another tank comes up, and this is a pretty good trade for FMTC actually. But it is going to get pushed back.
Yeah, it definitely is. 1-1 finish just now for the Marines during that fight, so very, very good for the Terran player. True, FMTC picked off a tank there and killed actually quite a decent number of Marines, but the aim of all of this, I think, for FMTC was not only to trade, but he needed to buy time to drone back up. He is back to 57 drones. He's got to see his Spire on the way and a Baneling Nest, and he is trying to transition into Link Blink Muta, which is, it might not work out for him just because of the upgrades. He'll be behind on upgrades on the Links and Banelings, and without that +2, it's very difficult to engage into a Terran army. Especially, Revenge, I mean, that guy has some insane Marine splitting. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be extremely hard. He's already starting to position some siege tanks and some units at the edges of the creep, so you can start scanning and running in small squads of Marines later on to clean it up a little bit. Because the creep threat is so important when you go for that Link style. But I don't feel like Revenge will expect that right now, because he's seen so many roaches. He hasn't seen any indication that there is going to be a Mutas or something on the field. But he has the adequate response to that, though. There's gonna be a drop into the main base as well, which has gone unchecked for the meanwhile, so that could do a little bit of damage. You can see here the cleaning of the creep, and Revenge is playing this very patiently, and so far it looks good for him.
Oh, FMTC wasn't paying attention to the
Nope.
minimap when that medevac flew by that overlord, and his main is going to lose quite a lot of drones as a result of that. And all the while, Revenge is poking forward with small groups of units, probing the terrain. Here comes the defensive response from FMTC. The Marauders are at the front. FMTC unwilling to blow up his banelings on them, and right now, nearly all of the Zerglings are actually dead, because the infantry lured them away towards the tank. This is just some very, very precise maneuvering by Revenge.
Yep, and as the DSCL chat is saying, stimped Korean units give the Zerg nightmares, and that's exactly what's going on right here. It's 150 supply against 115. He needs excellent bailing hits, but actually the bailings mostly get picked off before they even connect. And good falling back to the tank line every time, and the Queens are not going to be enough either.
That's
and
it.
This is looking good. This is looking like 2-0 for Revenge, and FMTC is gonna have to face one of the other two guys if that happens.
That's it. The army supply is 92 in favor of Terran compared to 33. Just not enough units. No banelings remaining. I mean, right now, pure Marines, maybe even SCVs could finish off this game, and FMTC knows it. GG's out. 2-0 Revenge advancing from first place.